Hi there, it's James again, and I'm just wrapping up this weekend's challenge, which if you missed the video on Friday, this weekend's challenge was to basically design a responsive navigation for this very simple header that we have. So this is your opportunity to share the work that you've done. So if you've got a CodePen completed, just drop it in a comment below, or if you've got it in some other file, just feel free to put a link to that in a comment as well. And just to show you an example of what you could do with this is what I came up with this weekend. The first thing to say is I just changed the markup slightly, just putting in some links into the list items. And there's a little bit of styling just when you hover over that. It's not exactly sensational looking, but just to give you an idea that the link is a bit more clickable. And the other thing I did with the markup, or at least the styling around that, is actually made the header full width. I think on the original template it was set so that it was a fixed width of 800 pixels or so. But for my example, what I've done is I've actually stretched it across the entire body of the page. And the reason for that is quite important because I've actually created an off-screen navigation. So if we actually just shrink down the size of the page, at some point when we hit a media breakpoint, you'll see we get our hamburger icon and the menu has disappeared. Now the menu is actually still there, it's actually somewhere over here on the page, and if we click the hamburger icon, you can see it now displays. And I've actually changed the orientation of the menu items. This was just an unordered list, so instead of being displayed in a row, now it's displayed in a column. And you might have noticed when you actually click the hamburger icon, there's a bit of a transition and there's no animation there, it's just a CSS transition. And what we're actually doing is affecting the position of the menu by adjusting its right value, and it's now absolutely positioned when we're in this view. So there's obviously some room for improvement here, but you get the general idea of just actually clicking on the hamburger icon and having that off-screen navigation. And the JavaScript for it's actually dead simple. All we need to do really is just add an event listener to that hamburger icon. And all we're really doing is toggling a class on the menu, which is this navigation here, and just saying whether it's open or not. And the CSS I did for this is really rough and ready. You could do with improving really, but just to show you, here we've got the menu and it's being pushed off the screen here by having a negative right value, and obviously it's being positioned absolutely. And then if we look a bit further down, I'm not sure where I put it, you can see that when that class of open is added, we just pull the right value back to 0, pulls that entire menu element back onto the page. So that's pretty much it, nothing too much more complicated than that. There's obviously a lot of different ways that you could solve it, and if you did come up with your own solution, feel free to post it in a comment below. Obviously easiest way is to do it in a CodePen, but if you do have it in another format, just post a link to your files in there. And hopefully this challenge has set your mind thinking about when you're dealing with headers and how you deal with smaller screen sizes, especially when you've got lots of links like we have in this example. And maybe you've thought about a few different strategies on how to handle it. So that's it for this week's challenge. I'll see you next week for our weekend challenge.